Dolphin Swartz. And this book gave me nightmares in 2nd grade. Like I got the book when I was in 2nd grade. And it scared the crap out of me. So let me try to hold this where it's focused and you can see along with me. I'm holding this book like in front of the camera tripod. Let's skip over this forward. Okay, here we begin. This chapter is filled with jump stories you can use to make your friends jump with fright. This one's called The Big Toe. A boy was digging at the edge of the garden when he saw a big toe. He tried to pick it up, but it was stuck to something. So he gave it a good hard jerk, and it came off in his hand. Then he heard something groan and scamper away. The boy took the toe into the kitchen and showed it to his mother. It looks nice and plump, she said. I'll put it in the soup and we'll have it for supper. That night his father carved the toe into 3 pieces, and they each had a piece. Then they did the dishes, and when it got dark, they went to bed. The boy fell asleep almost at once, but in the middle of the night, a sound awakened him. Was something out in the street. It was a voice, and it was calling to him. Where is my toe? It groaned. When the boy heard that, he got very scared. But he thought, it doesn't know where I am, never will find me. Then he heard the voice once more, only now it was closer. Where is my toe? It groaned. The boy pulled the blankets over his head and closed his eyes. I'll go to sleep, he thought. When I wake up, it'll be gone. But soon he heard the back door open, and again he heard the voice. Where is my toe? It groaned. Then the boy heard footsteps move through the kitchen, into the dining room, into the living room, into the front hall. Then slowly they climbed the stairs. Closer and closer they came. Soon they were in the upstairs hall. Then they were outside his door. Where's my toe? The voice groaned. His door opened. Shaken with fear, he listened as the footsteps slowly moved through the dark toward his bed. Then they stopped. Where is my toe? The voice groaned. At this point, pause and jump at the person next to you and shout, You've got it. The big toe also has another ending. When the boy hears a voice calling for its toe, finds a strange-looking creature up in the chimney. The boy is so frightened he can't move. He just stands there and stares at it. Finally he asks, well, what you got such big eyes for? The creature answers, to look you through and through. What you got such big claws for? To scratch up your grave. What you got also was walking down that road. The man looked at my uncle, and my uncle what the man. The man was scared of my uncle. My uncle was scared of that man. But they kept on walking, and it began to get dark. The man looked at my uncle. My uncle looked at the man. The man was very scared of my uncle, and my uncle was very scared of that man. But they kept walking, and they came to a big woods. It was getting darker, and the man looked at my uncle when my uncle looked at the man. The man was very scared of my uncle. My uncle was really scared of the man. But they kept on walking. Deep into the woods they went. It was getting darker, and the man looked at my uncle, and my uncle looked at the man. The man was terrible scared of my uncle. My uncle was terrible scared of. And it tells you to scream. But I ain't gonna do that. 'Cause this is like, supposed to be relaxing. What do you come for? There was an old woman who lived all by herself. She was very lonely. Sitting in the kitchen one night, she said, "I wish I had some company." No sooner had she spoken than down the chimney tumbled 2 feet, from which the flesh had rotted. The old woman's eyes bulged with terror. Then 2 legs dropped to the hearth, attached themselves to the feet. Then a body tumbled down, then 2 arms, and a man's head. As the woman watched, the parts came together into a great gangling man. The man danced around and around the room. Faster and faster he went. Then he stopped and he looked into her eyes. "What do you come for?" she asked in a small voice that shivered and shook. "What do I come for?" he said. "I come for you." All these first few stories are like jump scares. Later they're like scarier. This one's called Me Die Toady Walker. There was a haunted house where every night a bloody head fell down the chimney. At least that's what people said. So nobody would stay there overnight. Then a rich man offered $200 to whoever would do it. This boy said he'd try if he could have his dog with him. So it was all settled. The very next night the boy went to the house with his dog. To make it more cheerful, he started a fire in the fireplace. Then he sat in front of the fire and waited. His dog waited with him. For a while nothing happened, but a little after midnight he heard someone singing softly and sadly off in the woods. Singing sounded something like this. "Me die toady walker." It's just someone singing, the boy told himself, but he was frightened. Then his dog answered the song. Softly and sadly it sang. "Lynchy, kinchy, golly, molly, dingo, dingo." The boy could not believe his ears. His dog had never uttered a word before. "I can't believe this dog can talk. That's a crazy thing." Then a few minutes later he heard the singing again. Now it was closer and louder, but the words were the same. "Me die toady walker." time the boy tried to stop his dog from answering. He was afraid that whoever was singing would hear it and come after them. But his dog paid no attention. Again it sang, Lingy, Gingy, holy moly, dingo, dingo. Half hour later the boy heard the singing again. Now it was in the backyard, and the song was the same. Me Dee Walker. Again the boy tried to keep his dog quiet, but the dog sang louder than ever. Lynchy, Kinchy, holy moly, dingo, dingo. Soon the boy heard the singing again. Now it was coming down the chimney. Me Dee Walker. The dog sang back. Lynchy, Kinchy, holy moly, dingo, dingo. Suddenly a bloody head fell out of the chimney. It missed the fire and landed next to the dog. The dog took one look and fell over, dead from fright. The head turned and stared at the boy. Slowly it opened its mouth and so these are songs. We ain't gonna sing the songs because we ain't. You know, he heard footsteps coming up the cellar stairs. There are ghosts in this chapter. One comes back as a real person. Another takes revenge on her murderer. And there are other strange happenings. You know, this is one of my favorite stories, and it scared the crap out of me. And when I was playing baseball as a boy, we was in this field, and I kept looking back, 'cause there was like a forest behind it, and I kept thinking the thing was gonna come out, run across the bases. Ted, Martin, and Sam Miller were good friends. They spent a lot of time together. On this particular night, they were sitting on a fence near the post office talking about one thing and another. There was a field of turnips across the road. Suddenly they saw something. Crawl out of the field and stand up. Looked like a man, but in the dark it was hard to tell for sure. Then it was gone, but soon it appeared again. It walked halfway across the road, then it turned around and went back to the field. Then it came out a third time and started toward them. But now Ted and Sam were scared. They started running. When they finally stopped, they decided they were being foolish. They weren't sure what had scared them, so they decided to go back and get a better look. Pretty soon they saw it, for it was coming to meet them. Was wearing black pants, white shirt, and black suspenders. Sam said, I'm gonna try to touch it, then we'll know if it's real. Walked up to it and peered into its face. It had bright penetrating eyes sunk deep in its head. Looked like a skeleton. Ted took one look and screamed. And again he and Sam ran, but this time the skeleton followed them. When they got to Ted's house, they stood in the doorway and watched it. It stayed in the road for a while, then it disappeared. A year later, Ted got sick and died. Toward the end, Sam sat up with him every night. off. Then I suppose we'll end the video there. Or, maybe I'll read a few more. Let me find some that are really good. Yeah, the white wolf is pretty good. The timber wolves around French Creek had gotten out of hand. There were so many wolves, the farmers could not stop them from killing their cattle and sheep. So the state put a bounty on them. It would pay a hunter $10 for every wolf pelt he turned in. A butcher in town named Bill Williams thought that was pretty good money. He stopped working as a butcher and started killing wolves. He was good at it. Every year he killed over 500 of them. That came to more than $5,000. Was quite a bit of money in those days. After 4 or 5 years, Bill had killed so many wolves, there were hardly any left in the area. So he retired and he vowed never to harm another wolf because wolves had made him rich. Then one day a farmer reported that a white wolf had killed 2 of his sheep. He had shot at it and hit it, but the bullets didn't have any effect. Soon that wolf was seen all over the countryside, killing and running, but nobody could stop it. One night it came into Bill's yard and killed his pet cow. Bill forgot about his decision never to harm another wolf. Went into town the next morning and bought a young lamb for bait. Took it out into the hills and tied it to a tree. Then he backed off about 50 yards and sat down under another tree. With his gun in his lap he waited. When Bill didn't come back, his friends started looking for him. Finally they found the lamb. It was still tied to a tree. It was hungry, but it was alive. Then they found Bill. He was still sitting against the other tree, but he was dead. His throat had been torn open. But there was no sign of a struggle. His gun hadn't been fired and there were no tracks in the soil around him. As for the white wolf, it was never seen again. That one'll send chills up and down your spine. So this one's scary, kinda. But let me choose one more. One that's real scary. Hold on, let's take a look. Well, let's end it with a funny one, folks. I got a good one. Where the heck's it at? This one's called The Viper, and I always loved it. 'Cause it's real, kinda like funny. Well, it's scary. A widow lived alone on the top floor of an apartment. One morning her telephone rang. "Hello," she said. "This is the Viper," a man said. "I'm coming up." Somebody's fooling around, she thought, and hung up. A half hour later, the telephone rang again. Was the same man. it's the Viper, he said. I'll be up soon. The widow didn't know what to think, but she was getting frightened. Once more the telephone rang. Again it was the Viper. I'm coming up now, he said. She quickly called the police. They said they'd be right over. When the doorbell rang, she sighed with relief. There they are, she thought. But when she opened the window, there stood a little old man with a bucket and a cloth. I am the Viper, he said. I fish to wash and wipe the windows. And that's a picture of the Viper. You know, he's a pretty scary guy. But he ended up being pretty nice. You know, folks, I guess we will, end on that note. Guys, thanks a lot for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to support me on Patreon. Any support on there goes towards making, better videos with more equipment and stuff.